Hi and welcome to another tutorial from Blender Insight and also a new pattern. So this time I was thinking that we should do this spiral thing here, and I was thinking that this is a good way to show how you can use polar coordinates or radials that I used in the last session with the hexagon tiles. So this is rather easy to do, but still we need some explanation and get everything to work, so I just go through it. So we start with the texture coordinate, Shift A, input and the texture coordinate. And I would like the center to be here with the 0, so I add a subtract and multiply for the UV. So I just write subtract here, select the vector math subtract and put this to 0.5. Then I multiply by 2, so Shift D, and I put in multiply and put this to 2. And now it looks like this, so we have a negative one here and a positive one here. And now in the last session I created a radial from scratch using math, but in this case I can just use the gradient texture. So I press Shift A, go to texture, and here I can then select the gradient texture. Right now it's just a line, but if you change the type here to radial, you will get this round pattern where it's 1 here and then it goes to 0 here. And I can use that to create this. The thing now is that I want this to be repeated. So how to repeat it is to involve something else, and that is the length. So if I just take the length here and put that in and show you how it looks, then you can see it has like 0 in the start and then it grows to a bigger and bigger value. And the gradient texture has a small value here and a big value here. So when it starts to subtract with that, then something will disappear and something will be kept here. So it will be start of that line and it will look something like this. So I press Shift A, then I go to converter and math and put in this subtract here. So then you can see now we take away all that part. So we have that starting point, like this starting point here. Now we need to repeat that a lot of times. And to repeat stuff, we can just add a multiply and then a fraction. In the same way when we do tiles for a UV, then we put in a scale and we put in a fraction. Here we do the same, we just put in a multiply and a fraction to get this repeated. So Shift A, converter, math, and we put in a multiply. And you can put that to like 3 or 4. But right now it's just shrinking this, so we need to add that fraction as well. And as soon as I add a fraction, we now get these lines here. But the problem we have is that it still goes from 1 to 0 for every repetition. And we would like this to be just one long line that goes forever and forever around like this. And we can fix that, because then the thing to fix it is to make like a wave that goes in the opposite direction, so we always get the same value here. And fortunately we have that, because we can use a sine wave or we can use a cosine wave. It doesn't matter so much. And the only thing we need to fix now is that we get a complete wave from the sine or the cosine. So if I use the sine, then I just add or multiply 2 pi to this, and then instead of 1 I get like 6.283, which will perfectly fit with the sine wave. So I take Shift D here and then I do multiply, and then I write this thing here so it gets a driver, and then I just write 2 times pi, and then we have this 6.283 here to 0 here. And now I can just add my wave of sine. So I press Shift D to copy and I just change this to sine. And as soon as I do that, I get this very long line that never ends. I just can control the value here in a good way. So that is how you do a spiral. The other thing that I added just for fun was just to put in something after the sign, because after the sign you can play with whatever you want. You can add a noise texture to distort, not to distort, but to take away stuff, or you can do something. I can show you some of the stuff. So if I press Shift A here, go to texture and select, for instance, a noise texture, then I can just add that together with this by using a multiply. So converter, math, and put in like a multiply, for instance. You can see I can do an add as well. You can see it gets very distorted here. And if I use a multiply, it gets this, and then I can just put in something that says less than or something. So do like this, and then I can play with my spiral as I want to make it look old or whatever. So you can put in a lot of stuff here, and that is what I have done here, but I added it from the length, because if I add it from the length, then I get a new value all the time that will then increase and decrease stuff here. So what I did to make this is that I took that away, and I took away the less than, so we had it like this, and then I add a ping pong here. So if I take this ping pong and put it in here, then you can see we get these small lights here. So just to make it fit in a good way, and I think I use 0.1, yes, then we have something that looks very similar to this, but the value is now only 0.1, so we need to increase it. So just put in Shift D, and now we can use a map range, so Shift A, converter, map range, and we can put 0.1 here, and we are back with 0 to 1 for the spiral. And after that I just added something into the emission here, so we got some glow out of this. So I added a strength here, multiplied it a bit, so I convert the math, multiply, so we can increase it, and then I added some color ramp, so Shift A, converter, color ramp, with some color in here, so like red or something. And in the beginning I still used black, so we had some base here, so then I can play with this and get in the different values that I will have here, and I can also connect that to the color here. So, and then I think I changed this to yellow, so we got something like that. And now I'm almost identical with what we have here. So this is how you do it. So it's not so many nodes, as you can see, but still we get a rather nice result out of it. So hopefully you learned something today as well, and I do as usual just say bye for now and see you later.